Hey, God bless you, beloved. This is Pastor Jackie Jackson. I am excited about this series that we are in, and I want to thank you for joining me for the 8th lesson, teaching, message, answering the question, who was Charlie Kirk? Very important topic. As I have said, it goes beyond just Charlie Kirk. It's a bigger issue, but we are addressing that. So I'm glad to be with you. Very excited about the things that we're going to cover today, and just full of information that will really open your eyes, I hope, so that you see things different. So thank you for hanging out with this knowledge junkie that just, side note, I have no idea who was in the last Grammys and Emmys, and have no idea. And if you watch all that stuff and keep up with the stars, that's fine. I'm not saying there's something against that. But this is what I do. And I have a great time doing it, researching and all of that. And even though, like today, I'm dealing with a serious topic, it is still very crucial that I be who I am, but it is crucial that I do this so that you can know what I know, what I discover. And so I'm just ready to go. So listen, there isn't anything that's too critical in here that children shouldn't hear. Matter of fact, a lot of what I'm going to show you, I want all kids to know. But it is important that the kids not hear this if you're not ready to have some of these conversations. All right. Power is threatened by harmony. There's no doubt about that. Power is threatened by harmony. People walk, and so in order for those that are currently in power to stay in power, we can't walk in the love and harmony that God desires for us to do that and that not be a threat to them. Because as much as some may say their power is based on Christ, and call themselves Christians, some of the things that they do, when I take a look at the Bible, nothing could be further from the truth. Now, we have been allowing Charlie Kirk to use his own words. This is a quote. This actually was the day after he died. He died September 10, 2025. But the reason I'm not doing it here is because I showed a video, and this is a continuation. So if you look at number 7 or look at number 6 in this series, you'll have a better understanding of, where this is coming from. He's putting down women. He was saying black women didn't have the brain capacity, to process, the brain processing power to do certain things. And he mentioned specific women, and that's why I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about different women, since that seemed to be his focus on putting down women. Listen, beloved, listen to me, please. Black or white, doesn't make any difference. Listen to me. Matter of fact, let me switch this up. Before we get into that, God didn't make one group of people more intelligent than another. He didn't, there's no hierarchy in heaven. The Bible tells us that over and over again. Do you understand? You've been indoctrinated to think a particular way. Black folks have sometimes thought less of themselves because there's been this constant narrative about crime, which is not true. I've already proven some of that. White people commit more crime than black. It's not true. You'll see later on, white women have more abortions. You will see, and that in terms of all kinds of a variety of inventions and different things like that. You'll see that DEI is not a black thing. White women have benefited from it more. Affirmative action, white women have benefited from it more. There's just so much out there that's just not true. But to tout the opposite, first of all, it's just a flat out lie, but it's not of God. So what I'm about to show you in brief, and I mean in brief, if you're watching this on TikTok, like and subscribe. If you're watching this on TikTok, you will, there are other videos that give more detail than what I'm going to give you about Black biblical history. If you're watching it on YouTube at Urban Apologetics channel, there's a lot more detail than what I'm getting ready to give you. And I'm always concerned that if I don't explain things enough, people will try to poke holes in what I'm saying when there are no holes. And what I'm working up to is, if I was going to be arrogant, if I was going to be ungodly, I would tell you that because the black man was the first man, that we are superior to those who aren't melanated. I would never tell you that, and I'm too afraid of God to even play a game like that, which bothers me that other people aren't, which is a sign to me, I don't know about your walk. I don't know about your walk if you allow hate to come up in your heart, and just because of groupthink, other people around you saying something just as crazy, that's okay. You understand, when you get to heaven, there won't be a group there. You got to get that stuff straight in your life now. Judgment is coming, regardless of who you think. There's no white privilege in heaven. Adam, Adama, dirt, earth. I could show you maps. We're talking Ethiopia, Garden of Eden. You know what color dirt is? When God made man, when he finished everything he was doing, who did he put in charge? Now, did man mess up? Sure, but who did he put in charge? Who did he leave to run his earth? Who did he give dominion over his earth? Leaping way ahead in time, for the purpose of colonization, for the purpose of justifying slavery, for the purpose of justifying superiority, Jesus, who was black, was made white. There is DNA evidence. Oh, this modern time, the Bible and science agree. There are secular sources outside of Scripture. There were migrations of people down into Africa. Matthew chapter 25, AD 70, as Jesus predicted, as it took place. When we trace these folks, when we look at these pieces of history that I'm giving you, Jesus was Afro-Asiatic, but he was also Proto-Afro-Asiatic, and proto means first, and the proto, those people that are in that category before wars and mixing and other things like that, were black-skinned people. Now, that information is not hard to find. It was well hidden, but it's not hard to find that Jesus and the people that followed him were black-skinned people. And as harsh as this may sound, Charlie Kirk knows that now. Let me give you this piece of evidence, and then I'll give you some more information on this where, yeah, you'll see. We'll talk on the other side.
So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is most likely there is something there. And most likely maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts. Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel. Does that mean they were from the 10 tribes? Likely not. We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea, a few hundred years after that the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery. Into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. I like to bring up a few specific examples because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa. Everyone laughed at them and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon. They're living in a third world country. They got nothing. We're coming to Israel. We got innovation, technology. So they're trying to get on this train because there's such a thing called the right of return. All descendants of the Jewish people from around the world are able to move to Israel. So they said we are also. And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said. And a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture. And a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them. And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen and back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest. And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker to let us know that they share the same as from the Sephardic and the Ashkenaz and the population of the people in Israel today. They share the same exact DNA marker. That's mind-blowing. So everyone kind of got humbled a little bit who laughed at them and said, now what? Now what do we do about this? This could have tremendous implications. Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them, also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is most likely there is something there. And most likely maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome. You have a man named Onkelos who wrote a commentary on the Torah, unprecedented, that we still learn today. He was a convert. Some of the largest pillars on the transmission today were Roman converts. So here we are, we're Caucasian Jewish people, and now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all. We know they were sold into slavery. We know now that they're fulfilling prophecies by saying, we're coming back, we want to rejoin the, so what are they just trying to create an idea?
All right. There are many points that he made that I think are excellent facts and possibilities, things to explore and take a look at. There are some documentaries that are out there that really lay out for us what the migrations of Black folks were like, and you will see from that many of the people that were taken in the slave trade were a part of that escaping of Jerusalem in AD 70. It's a fascinating study to look at. A lot of people don't realize that many of the people that were taken, many might be a strong word, but quite a few of the people that were taken, and still not finding the right word, were already Christians, right? So it is not would not be a surprise if if you can find Christians, you can certainly find people that are in Judaism. So the question that's often asked, and there are longer videos for this, so this is going to be brief. They're often asked is, okay, if there are Black folks with Hebrew blood or that are practicing Judaism, where are they? Well, first picture that you've got there is of the Lemba tribe, Lemba, Lemba tribe. They are in the northern part of South Africa, if that makes sense to you. They have been DNA tested, and they have the specific Y chromosome, many of their men, DNA tested Hebrew, have the specific Y chromosome, some of the men, that takes them back to Aaron, to the Levitical priesthood. Oh, we can do that now. That's why, listen, you may be hearing this for the very first time, but you get ready. Because, well, first of all, I'm a researcher, right? That's what I do. And so I know that I'm doing thorough research. And it's easy to refute people that they're throwing things out and they may not have the receipts. They may very well be right, but they don't have the receipts. I have the receipts, right? There's a bookshelf over there that is 7 feet high, and that's all that's in it, is what I'm telling you now. There's another bookshelf in the living room that is 7 feet high, nothing but books around this topic. And then I have a small library in my other office upstairs. And what I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is, I didn't come in the back door to get this information. I've been studying this stuff for almost 40 years now, obsessed with it for at least 20 of those years. But other people are starting to say it. I'm blessed because this rabbi is not trying to fight it. Second picture, the Falasha or Beta Israel. And I just learned something. I've got a book that actually says Falasha Jews on it. I didn't bring it over here. But a book that was written about them and how long these Ethiopian Jews have been involved in Judaism. Just history, just going way, way back. But I just recently learned that Falasha might be an insult. I don't know the reasons why, so we can call them Beta Israel and be safe. They are moving to Israel. Now, the Ashkenaz Jews who rule Israel, when they get there, are putting them in the worst neighborhoods, playing them black. If they treat black people wrong in companies, they don't have the laws we have here. They'll tell them we won't hire anybody your color if you go and complain. It's a mess. Story for, well, I've told this story on other videos. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is there's DNA testing, there is history that proves that there are black-skinned people that are connected to Judaism, to Israel, and they are black. And I don't believe that these folks are just converts. All right? I want you to take a look at this, and we'll read it if I can see it. As I've told you before, this stuff the print is much smaller for me. But let's take a look at this. Oh, I got it. I got it. When he was asked, this is talking about the war in Israel. This is talking about Nasser. When he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated, "The Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black and came back white." Those aren't just words. That's what happened. They left here black and they came back white. Now, I've got other videos that explain that, how that happened, where the Ashkenaz came from, who are they, and I explain it both with maps, science, and scripture. I put all three together to tell you through verses and through science and through showing you maps that shows their location, which is where they came out of in 1946, 47, and establishing themselves in 48. It lets you know exactly where they came from. The Bible and science agree. I want to thank you so much for hanging out on Urban Apologetics channel. May the Lord bless you, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.